Chapter 7, Execution and ROI. It's time to tie it all together in your execution, and the key is to build with the end in mind. The work leading up to this created your strategic foundation. Now it's time to organize your launch workflow and measure the effectiveness of your efforts. It's important that you not get lost in tactical details, but instead structure your execution in a way that maintains strategic integrity. Having a consistent approach will help everyone stay on the same page and align on the topic of ROI. Historically, a marketer's performance is gauged through marketing metrics, which focuses on tactics instead of financial metrics, which focus on impact. To understand impact and make the best decisions regarding revenue growth, you must align marketing success with the financial language of the business. With the right framework, you can see where your biggest problems lie, prioritize their solutions to drive both short-term and long-term growth, and execute your plans with finesse. Vision without execution is hallucination. Thomas Edison. With your strategic elements in place, you must now masterfully execute your marketing. So where do you begin? With the end in mind, of course, which requires a shift in how you're looking at your marketing plan. Your marketing plan from Chapter 4 is structured to support the buyer's journey. It's tempting to want to build out campaigns and headlines to get people's attention first. But what happens when it works? You'll have people curious and interested, but you won't have anything in place to convert their interest into inquiry. Talk about wasted money and opportunity that you cannot get back. Instead, I believe outstanding execution follows an ABC framework. Align your message and brand with your strategic plan and goals. Build the brand collateral, campaigns, and calls to action to convert interest into inquiry to help prospects more efficiently proceed through their decision-making process. Champion your message and confidently invest in promotion, knowing that you have mapped out the prospect's experience of interacting with your marketing. If your brand and messaging cannot convert interest into inquiry, it doesn't matter how brilliant or wide-reaching your promotion is. You must start with the assets where your messaging and branding convert interest into inquiry and inquiry into sales. Once you have stacked these cards in your favor, then it's time to distribute your message to the masses. Converting interest to inquiry. We've talked a considerable amount about how both the buyer and the seller progress through the decision-making process, but a huge bottleneck in the buyer's journey happens when the next step isn't clear. Calls to action, or CTAs, provide cues to potential buyers about what they need in order to proceed. CTAs are what you suggest to your buyer personas to assist them in solving their problem or achieving their goal. One of the most common mistakes I see in B2B marketing is the neglect or misuse of CTAs. Often, there simply won't be a clear CTA in the collateral, trade show booth, ad, or web page. But when there is a CTA, it's almost always, "Contact us." This is like asking someone to marry you on the first date. It reeks of desperation, and it rarely works. In Chapter 4, we discussed the 3 exchanges: 1, attention; 2, time; and 3, money. Your CTAs align with the exchanges, providing progress for the buyer and communicating where the prospect is in their buyer's journey. Think of your CTA as an ATM. There's an exchange for attention, time, or money based on the value a prospect can withdraw from you. In the attention exchange, your ask is something that can be accomplished quickly and requires little to no commitment. Examples include watching a video, visiting a specific landing page through an ad or post, clicking a second page on a website, hovering one's phone over an ad, or following on social media. One additional CTA is implicit. You're asking people to remember you. This is why B2C companies use mnemonic devices like rhymes, mascots, celebrities, and endless amounts of repetition. These are best practices underutilized in the B2B world. CTAs in the time exchange might include attending a webinar or event, downloading a guide, checklist, or other resource, subscribing to a channel, podcast, or email series, and taking a free assessment. These tools help to educate prospects. As prospects move in to close the deal where they know they are going to make a purchase, the marketing CTAs include things like contacting the company, scheduling a free consultation, getting a quote, and setting up a demo. While this sounds simple, many B2B marketers don't have great CTAs CTAs because their creation requires a lot of time and attention from subject matter experts. Guides, checklists, videos, white papers, articles, and any other high-value content require input from the operations team. Most B2B organizations don't prioritize this because they don't see marketing as a customer-focused activity, and the projects wither on the vine. But if you truly deserve an aligned organization that lives your mission every day, servant leadership in your business development communication is critical, and a cross-functional team must give attention to these activities. If you are not getting the results you want from your marketing, take a close look at what value you are offering to prospects before they buy from you. If your value is given only after an invoice, it becomes incredibly difficult in this busy, fast, and competitive world to convince people to invest their time and attention in you unless they have referrals from existing customers. Once you have your marketing strategy, plan, messaging, and branding in place, review the sales map and consider what the prospect wants and needs in order to proceed. What questions does your prospect ask? What and where are common misunderstandings inherent in the prospect's choices? What immediate insight can you provide that leads to your differentiator? Prioritize your topics using these types of questions. Your CTAs provide the progress that will help both you and your buyer personas progress through the decision-making process openly and respectfully. Prioritizing tactics and measuring effectiveness. No conversation about execution is complete without a discussion on budgeting, prioritization, and outcomes. Extending the philosophy of structuring your execution with the end in mind, you must identify the tactics that will have the biggest impact on your business now and that you can build on to create sustainable success in the future. No one has unlimited resources, so you must get bang for your business development buck. Budgeting and ROI are two sides of the same coin. You must make informed decisions about where to put your money, time, and attention, and then you must measure the effectiveness of those tactics to find areas of improvement or redirection. Both budgeting and measuring the return on your marketing investment are challenging conversations at best, and at worst, they are hotbeds for internal misalignment, short-sighted planning, and a lot of frustration. I'm neither an analyst nor a math whiz, so this is not going to be a deep dive into algorithms, weighted averages, marketing analytics, or investment calculations. Instead, we're going to take a holistic and practical look at how to understand ROI, how to allocate budget, and how to create agreement within your organization about how ROI is measured so then you can maximize your results. The language of business can be boiled down to a few critical numbers: revenue, expenses, profit, cash flow, and equity. In business, we pull different levers to impact these numbers. To improve cash flow, the finance department pulls levers such as adjusting terms, managing credit, and getting aggressive on collections. To impact profit, companies will cut costs or increase pricing. If they want revenue growth, companies generally must pull a marketing or sales lever, so it's not healthy to refer to marketing as a cost center when it is the lifeblood of the organization. In the same vein, it is not acceptable for marketing to rely solely on metrics that do not clearly communicate correlation to financial impact. Thus, it's critical to create an aligned understanding and language for marketing ROI. To start, let's go ahead and look at some examples of marketing ROI calculations and why these haven't helped most organizations resolve this problem. Subtract your marketing cost from your sales growth and then divide by the marketing cost. This simple approach sounds great, but what impact do market trends have on growth? Even if there are no positive market trends assisting with your revenue increase, this calculation assumes that your marketing costs are solely responsible for growth. Your sales growth minus organic sales growth minus your marketing costs, and all divided by your total marketing cost. Neither of the preceding formulas acknowledge that many marketing campaigns are not designed to impact today's sales. A healthy marketing mix accounts for immediate revenue impact, but also your pipeline for tomorrow's sales, as well as your long-term visibility and positioning with the future decision makers. Here's another option. Subtract your marketing investment from your customer lifetime value and divide all of it by the marketing investment. I really like this one and think it's incredibly important. However, there is no separation between the impact of the sales team from the impact of your marketing spend. As you know by now, I advocate for sales and marketing to function as a unified team, so their figures shouldn't be broken out separately. However, the sales team is almost always given the credit for sales growth, which negates the role of marketing in the sales team's ability to close more deals. There are numerous other calculations, especially for campaign effectiveness. Here's an example. Take your number of leads multiplied by your lead to customer rate, multiplied by the average sales price, and then subtract the cost of ad spend. Then divide the total cost of ad spend and multiply the entire thing by 100. But how about the impact of the marketers themselves and their salaries? You see, each calculation comes with its own complexities and imperfections. Because it's a complicated environment, both emotionally and financially, we need a new way to look at ROI that gives leadership decision-making insight into the effectiveness of their marketing and unifies the business development approach to maximize revenue growth. Marketers and leadership teams have a responsibility to build a bridge between the two languages of marketing metrics and financial performance. What I want to give you is a down and dirty way to understand marketing analytics and, more important, how to translate them into financial terms. It is time for marketing teams to learn how to speak the language of business, financial metrics. And it is time for the C-suite to stop being legalistic and at times argumentative in trying to drive a direct correlation between, say, a single social media post and its direct impact on revenue. It's time to view business development as a system that you can optimize, much like how you optimize operational processes. Thus, you can then prioritize optimization efforts by finding and minimizing areas of waste, slowdowns, and lost opportunities within the total pipeline. So how do you do this? Let's begin with a visualization of the different types of customer outcomes that marketing can drive to move a prospect closer to a deal. We'll take a look at how marketing works as a funnel graphic. You'll remember from Chapter 4 that the buyer's journey goes from awareness to consideration to decision, and possibly to referral and more purchases. What can we measure in the buyer's journey? Generate interest, awareness. First, your market must know you exist and what problem you solve. This is visibility. You cannot get leads if you are invisible. Visibility is the most financially expensive outcome to achieve and the hardest to measure. Examples of visibility metrics include impressions, audience size, if you speak from a stage, search engine optimization, and share of voice. Next, you want your visibility to drive curiosity, and you want your prospects to act on that curiosity. This is measured by traffic. It means that people have heard of you and are spending a few seconds or minutes to intentionally check you out and hopefully cement your existence into their mental library of resources. Traffic can be measured on the trade show floor or by visitors to your websites, visitors to your landing pages, video views, and so forth. This measurement reflects how many people are researching you. You can also consider the quality of the traffic, chiefly by paying attention to how much time they're spending with you. For example, the amount of time they spend browsing your website or watching your videos. Build trust, consideration. From traffic you created, how many prospects took an action and began to invest time into better understanding your expertise or your offering? We call these conversions because these movements show that you converted interest into action. People are now beginning to invest time in you. There are different types of conversions, and they generally fall into one of two camps. One action involves prospects researching a need, resulting in their signing up for webinars, downloading pieces of content, or taking any actions where they spend time with you and possibly give you their email address. These are called marketing qualified leads, or MQLs, because all you know about them is that they found your content or offer valuable or interesting. You haven't confirmed whether they are in your target market, or if they are, whether they have the authority, real need, or budget to make a purchase. They are simply in your database now. Conversions can begin early in the buyer's journey and build on one another to nurture your prospects' understanding of their problem and interest in your ability to solve that problem. The two primary metrics for MQLs are 1, how large your email list is growing from your content marketing efforts, and 2, how your lead scoring reflects the nurturing efforts if you are using automation software. It's up to you to nurture these MQLs and validate their viability as potential customers through the additional actions they take. When the MQLs trigger a conversation with a salesperson who then validates that they are able and interested in a purchase, they become sales qualified leads, or SQLs. SQLs are the next level of measurement. Out of the MQLs generated from your marketing efforts designed to request time and build trust with prospects, how many of them did turn into qualified opportunities? close the deal, decision. And of course, we want as many SQLs as possible to become customers. Many companies prioritize closing ratios, but remember that your closing ratio and thus your revenue are lagging indicators. There is nothing you can do to impact this directly because the activities leading up to it are in the past. Viewing your total business development pipeline, not just your sales qualified pipeline, is the key to understanding marketing ROI. Once you set a baseline for where you stand in each of these action areas and with each of your buyer personas, then your goal becomes keeping as many people inside the funnel as possible. It also gives you a broad look at the impact your marketing may have in the future. If you invest heavily in visibility and traffic, it takes time for the investment to funnel through the rest of the buyer's journey, but it will help your sales in the future. Alternatively, if you're under-investing in visibility, you could be creating future harm to your lead generation in the coming years and with future decision makers. There is an attrition ratio from each level, with the goal being to maximize the ratios and cut waste and lost prospects. With this paradigm, you can numerically identify where your biggest business development problems lie and prioritize your time, attention, and money to fixing these critical areas first and creating a continuous improvement approach. How to improve your revenue ratios. Once you have identified the key metrics for each level of your funnel, take a look at each ratio with a wide lens. First, where are people falling out of your pipeline? Examine what the prospect experience is and where you can improve. Also, you'll want to take a look at the quality of each metric. You might have extremely high visibility and traffic, but almost no conversions. It's very possible that you're in front of the wrong people. I'll give you an example. One of my company's clients manufactures storm drain solutions. However, if you do a quick Google search for storm drainage, you'll get a long list of products for backyard pools and home improvement needs. But our client serves only the commercial market. It would do no good to show up on page 1 of Google for any of these keyword terms because the percentage of the traffic would be useless. Let's look at a scenario one level down in the funnel. What happens if you know that you're visible to the right people and that you have good traffic levels, but you don't have enough conversions? Now you must examine the quality of your marketing execution. Look at and test your visuals, your message, your offer, the visual hierarchy of your landing pages, and the details of the prospect experience. The process continues down the funnel as new areas of opportunity arise in a continuous improvement cycle. You can improve your nurture processes and your lead qualification process, cut waste from your sales cycle, and improve your closing techniques. This helps you understand organizationally if you're solving the correct problem. A lot of waste occurs because of misallocation of business development money. From a budgeting perspective, you can look at how you are allocating funds within this framework. It's not unlike how you maximize efficiency in operations. You look for bottlenecks and waste and then prioritize their solutions. The exact same principles apply to marketing. Know where your growth will come from. You need to create clarity for your business development team members on the assumptions of how growth will occur. Unless you're a startup, you'll likely have a percentage of your gross revenue associated with existing clients. You should clearly articulate your assumptions or goals about keeping clients and expanding your ability to serve them. Depending on your business model, this can be further broken down into products, divisions, or different types of engagements. Each should have its own number, and those numbers should assist you in breaking down the strategies and tactics you employ to achieve those numbers. You'll also have a net new revenue goal. Look at your closing ratios and conversion ratios to set assumptions about how many MQLs you need to keep your pipeline full. Depending on your business model and the size of your company, you can also make assumptions about how many leads come from each of your strategic initiatives and benchmark against these goals or assumptions. For example, if a predictable number of leads comes in through speaking engagements, a specific number through paid digital advertising, and a certain number through referrals, you should think through and measure the ways in which you nurture and qualify the people who are engaging with your marketing to ensure your efforts lead to a sales conversion. You'll also want to identify the areas of your sales process that you could improve to accelerate sales cycles or enhance closing ratios. Documenting your revenue assumptions can give you new perspective on the tactics you've chosen and where to focus your efforts and resources. Alignment, defining success and knowing the pathway to success. Using the revenue ratio framework aligns your marketing and sales efforts into a unified point of view and helps with both check-ins and buy-ins. As you measure or check in on the efficacy of your marketing efforts, you can avoid getting lost in the weeds of individual tactics and instead view the health of your overall business development system. Once you identify a problem, you can delegate the diagnosis and prescription to the correct people and hold them accountable for system improvement. This can assist you with your team's buy-in on the strategy and bolster teamwork to achieve system improvement. We discussed that branding impacts profit, but marketing can impact profit in other ways as well. For example, a 2% reduction in client churn can equal a 10% reduction in expenses. Most customers are lost not because of problems, but because of indifference. This is the perfect place for marketing to cross-functionally assist in plugging a gap in your growth. Marketing is loaded with nuance and complexity because marketing is the business of connecting with humans, and humans are loaded with nuance and complexity. Of course, the ROI conversation is going to be nuanced and complex, but by agreeing on a big picture framework for how marketing can impact the full engagement journey, you can clarify where your real problems and opportunities lie and make decisions, e.g., increase a marketing budget in confidence. The rearview mirror. Build your execution plan by starting with the end in mind. The ABC framework, align, build, and champion, helps you convert interest into inquiry and set a path towards a sale. Begin by identifying your calls to action, or CTAs, for each of the exchanges in the sales cycle. A revenue ratio framework can help you employ a holistic point of view on your marketing ROI to create agreement within your organization to maximize your results. Identify where you are losing prospects in your overall business development system so you can prioritize and allocate budget effectively, eliminating waste, slowdowns, and lost opportunities within the total pipeline. Break down your revenue goals between current customers and net new customers to further streamline your ability to create the most optimized pathway to a sale. By agreeing on a big picture framework for how marketing can impact the full engagement journey, you can make confident decisions in sales and marketing based on the assumptions you can measure in achieving your revenue goals.